Hey everybody, welcome to the Irish Wrestling Podcast. Welcome back to the show. Vaughn Vertigo, it's been about a year since we last spoke, so we're here to catch up on Vaughn, what he's been doing for last year, and the upcoming Spankdown show for OTT, where he's facing Renzo Rose for the title. So that's going to be a good show, and I'm looking forward to going to it. So, Vaughn, how are things? How are you keeping?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Good, good, yeah. Not too bad, not too bad. It's been, like I said, it's been about a year since we last spoke.
Yeah, did we speak before I was at OTT or
You were
after
after, you
OTT
think
last
you had
time?
a match with LJ and Derry at that
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
We were trying to, I think
Yes.
we were trying to get you back. We were pushing to get you back. I know you've come over a few times to Europe since then. Like, I know you did
Yeah,
progress
it
and
just didn't it just didn't end up lining up,
yeah,
unfortunately. But finally it's
thankfully
worked out. Yeah.
back for a proper big show now in front of a hostile crowd in Dublin. So it should be a good show. Uh, we'll get into
And when you
that.
say hostile, you don't mean
No,
hostile
no, no,
against
no.
me, right?
Hostile
Like
towards Renzo.
Oh, okay, perfect.
People in Dublin don't have a, what they love to hate Renzo. He's very much loved but hated at the same time. He's got that thing about him. Um,
Gotcha.
he's very anti-Irish. He's Italian, so he's very anytime Ireland lose in anything, he'll either wear the jersey of the team that beat Ireland, or he'll just you know
Mm,
parade it in front of everybody. He's good at doing
gotcha.
stuff like that. So yeah, it
Okay.
should be a good.
That'll be fun then.
Should be good. It should be good. Before we get into the match with Renzo Spankdown, I just want to say, like, for the last year, like last time we spoke, I know you were nursing an injury. As far as I remember, you were nursing an injury at the time.
That would have been so I had appendix surgery,
That's
and then I
right.
did the
You're
European tour where I did OTT up in Londonderry, and then I had my hernia repaired. So
oh.
that was like in between two surgeries, which was a lot on my body.
Yeah. I just wanted to speak on that. Like, I know, like again, last time we spoke, Leighton or Arthur, we call him Arthur. Leighton Buzzard was sandwich at the time. Now he's actually out injured at the minute. I just wanted to touch on, people like
Yeah.
look at wrestlers and they get injured and they're with big promotions and they're going, they're covered and everything's covered for them and stuff like that. But when it comes to independent wrestlers, they're relying on working for to live. When you get injured, like, how much of a setback does that sends you into, like, whenever you're injured, like, obviously you can't go and do your shows that you had all planned out.
Yeah, I mean it's a huge setback. I mean, it really depends on how, I guess, busy and how invested you are in independent wrestling. Like for me, thankfully, I'm self-employed. Like I do
Yeah.
videography, so I can actually work from home. If I were to, have like when I had the appendix out, I was still able to edit and whatnot. Um, but in a case like Leighton, getting his ACL torn,
Mm.
like I think he was pretty much full-time wrestler after coming back from Japan, and now he probably has to rethink things and rely on merch sales and doing commentary and whatnot now, right?
Yeah.
Thankfully, I was only out for it was like 4 weeks, and then I had the European tour, but I was out for 6 weeks. It was like 3 months total. Well, 4 months total that I was kind of out, and I was just kind of back into the swing of things, but it's rough. it's
Yeah.
it's not a fun time.
I can't imagine what it'd be like because, like you said, if you are heavily reliant on wrestling and as your
Yeah,
as your income when you get injured, it's there's nothing. Like, you'd have to try and find a part-time job, or try and restart society, like, outside of wrestling. It must be really hard on people. It's just something that we wouldn't normally think about as wrestling fans, because
yeah.
you're stuck glued to the TV watching people who are on more money than you probably will ever make in our lifetime. Like, so I just want to
Exactly.
shout out to.
It's hard to find. Yeah, it's hard to find that job that is welcoming of wrestling.
Yeah.
If you're working full time during the week, like you might need to take a Friday off or a Thursday off or something like that. It's hard to find those jobs that are available to do that. I'm thankful to be self employed and be able to make my own hours
Yeah.
and be able to leave for 2 months or something if I need to.
Yeah, it's handy like that way. But obviously you can work
Yeah.
on the road as well, like if you are video
Yeah.
editing, like, and
Exactly.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's handy to do stuff like that. Just like I said, throughout the last year, like, you've been everywhere. You've been killing it. I've just noticing wrestling's some of the biggest independent stars in the world at the
Mhm.
minute. And recently you had Mustafa Ali, and I've had Trent Seven and people like that. With these big names coming out of places like
Mhm.
WWE or AEW, and place, they're free agents now and they're going out in the indie scenes. What has been like for yourself? Been facing all these big names who are free agents now.
Yeah. It's been great. I mean, I've always said that like the thing that I needed the most as a wrestler, and the reason I ended up in Europe is because I wasn't getting those marquee matches with guys like Trent Seven and Mustafa Ali. And now coming out of the pandemic to be in the situation where I'm one of the top guys in Canada because guys like Josh Alexander and Ethan Page and El Fantasma and all these guys have moved on to, New Japan and Impact and AEW and whatnot. I'm thankful to be in that position to be able to work, Trent Seven coming to town, or Mustafa Ali hot off WWE. So I'm very thankful for that. And obviously for me, it's a huge test, especially wrestling Mustafa. I think I was his fourth or fifth match back, which was like very daunting because it's always a test of like, am I going to be able to keep up with this man?
Yeah. How did that come about? Like, when he was free agent, did the promoters go looking for him and say, look, we've got this, we've got Vaughn Vertigo ready for you? Or did they come to you say, look, we're looking for people to wrestle Mustafa Ali? How did it come about?
So he was booked for a tour, like for three dates in Canada. So he was like, I think there's like a Thursday show, a Friday show, and a Saturday show. I was not the first choice to wrestle Mustafa. What happened was that I developed a relationship with Mustafa 2 years prior, where I had put out a promo video when I was coming back to Europe after the pandemic, that he had saw and retweeted and like complimented on his social media. And immediately I was like, this guy, like, he went out of his way to do that for me. Like, that's super, super nice of the guy. I don't even know him, and he did that. So that led to me getting an opportunity with ICW and then into Progress because I saw it, right?
Yeah.
And then when I did WWE Extra work later in the year, I did Raw in Toronto, and he was there, and I was like, oh man, I have to say something to him because like he went out of his way to do that for me. I don't know this man. So I thanked him, and then he gave me like 10 minutes of his time and like gave me some advice and whatnot. And I was like, oh, man, that's super, super cool, this guy. So the moment he was released, I put out this tweet saying like, just kind of recapping what my story was there, that I didn't really know. He doesn't know me. I barely know him, but I've had this interaction with him. Just kind of putting it out in the universe, like hoping, maybe something would come of it. And then when he was announced for C4, I believe the roster said like it had to be me, which was, really cool and really important to me because obviously like having that opportunity was a really big deal to me.
Yeah, huge. And you had 10 minutes with him as an extra. What else did you learn off him in the match? Like you probably had a lot more time with him prior to it to plan it out.
Yeah, I mean, he's very interesting. Like, he thinks in kind of in a different way. Honestly, the most I picked up from him is he's just like a regular guy, just like everybody else. It was interesting to hear his like insecurities, because you think of a guy coming off of WWE, you think like obviously he's selling out all these shows, like he must feel like he's a really big deal. And then we kind of had this conversation where he's like, I don't like it's hard for me to understand that I'm selling out all these shows because in WWE, like I was not pitched like that talent. People were coming to WWE to see Randy Orton. They were coming to see John Cena. I was just more like a mid-level guy. And now this is like overwhelming me. And I kind of had this moment with him where I was like, dude, you need to understand that like we wanted you back on the indies because we know how good you are. And like you weren't getting your just due there. And I'm sitting there thinking like, why am I the one hyping up you here? Like you're Mustafa Ali. So it was just cool to like kind of humanize him in a way that way.
Fantastic. You've mentioned Josh there as well. I know you had their promotion during the pandemic with Josh and stuff, and you go way back. As with Mustafa Ali and TNA and Josh and TNA, and you have contacts in there. Is that something that you're looking at? Working more towards a bigger contract or working in North America, into actual America outside of Canada?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it feels like TNA is the best route to get into America to earn a visa. So that's definitely something I've been trying to focus on a little more recently. And obviously I've been working with Josh and Mustafa and Alex Shelley and Jake something and all these guys that work there now. That's definitely working in my favor. It's just a question of making it work and building my name to a point where they want me to be a part of it.
Yeah, well hopefully I think you've gone to a stage now where you're standing out even more online and people are getting to see your work. So I think it's only a matter of time before we see you on the big screen on TV regularly. I hope it happens in the next while.
I hope so. I appreciate that. It's been a lot of work.
Yeah, well, that it takes time, as they all say. The grind,
Hmm.
the grind is the magic word at the minute going around. So you keep grinding, and it'll eventually pay off. You are coming over to Europe in the next
Hmm.
few weeks, so you've got a couple of dates lined up. I'll just talk about the Spankdown show. As I said at the start, it's the funniest name for a show I've ever heard. But um, are you familiar with Renzo Rose? Have you seen any of his work, or you know what you're
I'm
getting
not
into?
I'm not super familiar. So to my understanding, he moved to Ireland from Italy, I would assume,
Hmm.
which I think is probably a great move for him. And then obviously he's been popping up in OTT, and now he has the No Limits Championship. Um, all I know is that he's hated.
Yeah, very much,
And but
very
apparently
much.
he's not defending his title against anybody from Ireland, like he refuses to or something like
Correct.
that.
Yeah. So I think it
Yeah.
was he he won it in Italy off Trent Seven.
Oh, you won it in
Uh,
Italy.
in Italy
Oh,
off
okay,
he
okay.
had a hometown victory against Trent before Trent won the OTT title a couple of months later, right? But Renzo has refused to defend it against anyone Irish. So you're getting the title shots. It's a big deal. Like coming to Ireland to get a title shot. It's not something that everybody gets a chance to do. Like, but
Hmm.
it's going to be a hell of a match. So I think I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be match of the night on the show. Uh,
I'm looking forward to it because this is kind of I especially love first time matchups, like especially like kind of feeling somebody out and you don't really know what's going to happen. And then obviously I've never wrestled in Dublin. I wrestled in
mm,
Northern Ireland, so
yeah.
to finally get that opportunity down there, I'm really really looking forward to it.
Yeah, just a word of warning: if you are saying to the Irish fans, don't say Londonderry in Dublin. Just call it Derry. Just call it
Just
Derry.
call it Derry. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. If just in case you're on the mic and you have to say Londonderry, you may end up
All
turning
right.
them against you.
Oh boy, we don't
How do
want
you,
that.
I always like to ask this question, like when you are facing someone for the first time, like you know,
Mhm.
how do you book out? How do you plan out a match? Like, and do you have a set time? You're given 12 minutes or whatever the match is going to be.
Mhm.
After do you get the time and then you set out the match, or in your heads, have you something planned out and then they tell you, oh, you've only 12 minutes, and you're like, oh, we have to cut out this part and this part, or
I would even say it's more of a longer process. It depends on who you are. For me,
yeah.
like if I'm wrestling somebody for the first time in within the week or within a couple of days before, I will go
Hmm.
online and I will watch a couple of their matches just to kind of feel like what they have, what they are. It's also a safety thing. Like you want to watch their stuff to see like if they do this crazy pile driver off the top, it's like maybe I don't want to do something unsafe. Um, but once I kind of like get a feel for what they can do, then it kind of becomes the planning process of, well, how long do we have, and then what's the story, and then
Yeah.
kind of lay it out from there, right?
Cool, cool. And obviously outside of SmackDown, you have a couple of other shows. You have Ray Carberry in England, and you're going to Copenhagen as well for Body Slam.
Yeah,
How's the preparations for that? You've wrestled in Denmark before?
yeah. I think this is my fourth time in Denmark, third time for Body Slam, and that's I can't say enough about that scene over there. Like I've said it before on like on Twitter and social media that like I never thought in my life I would a want to go to Copenhagen
Hmm.
and be a part of their scene
Yeah.
of like a wrestling scene because I didn't think it really existed. And then you go there and it's like 400 to 600 drunk, really tall Danish people, and it's the best vibe. I love it so much.
I spoke to Leo Rush earlier on this year, and he was coming
Yeah.
over his European tour, and he was wrestling in Transylvania, and I was like,
Oh man.
"What? There's wrestling in there's
Yeah.
Romania, like, but Transylvania." I was just wanted to know how much. I haven't spoken to him since he was done it. I was wondering how that kind of show was, but it's nice, when you go to places like that, and you're like, is there wrestling in these places? You never hear of them, but then when you talk to
Yeah.
people who've been there, they talk about how cool the audience are, or how amazing the shows are.
Oh, 100%. Like I would love to wrestle in Transylvania. I would love to wrestle in like any of these countries. Like I just wrestled Matt Cross a couple months ago, and he's like the king of that. I think he's wrestled in like 34 countries or something, a lot of like really strange ones. So I've been
Man.
trying to pick his brain to see where to go.
You did last year when we spoke, you were on one hell of a long tour. Like you were going through everywhere. Is the rest of the
Yeah.
year planned out? Have you got a plan in your head where else you're going to be traveling to?
Not entirely. I'm trying to work out what I want to do over the summer. That's kind of my next goal, and then I'll probably end up back in Europe in the fall, I'd imagine. But right now, it's just getting through this tour, and then probably focusing on some American stuff.
Yeah. Outside of wrestling, you said you do a lot of video editing. Are you doing it for yourself? Are
Mhm.
you doing it for, companies or musicians or movies
Oh,
or?
it varies. I work with another videographer, and he has a company, so we do like tourism and school board videos and real estate videos and all sorts of stuff. But then I also work for myself, so I have my own clients, and then I also do social media editing for other wrestlers if
Oh,
they need it.
really?
Like, yeah. So I've been doing a lot for JJ Gale recently. I was
Yeah,
at one
yeah,
of their
yeah.
pro matches. Yeah, so just little like music videos and stuff because people
Cool.
don't necessarily have the time to put that kind of thing
Yeah,
together.
sweet. Before we let you go on, you said at the start we're a bit sick, or we're both a bit sick, so we don't want to keep it too long. So just in case the voice dries up. But before we close off all our interviews at the moment, we're doing a quiz. So it's just a quick
Yeah,
fire quiz, just so people can get to know more about you, as just outside of being a wrestler, just
for
to see
sure.
what makes you tick. So it's just 10 questions that everybody should know about Vaughn Vertigo.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee for sure.
Beef or chicken?
Uh, I prefer beef. You can get more flavor out of beef. I like both, but beef, yeah.
Weights or cardio?
More so weights.
Yeah.
Cardio is not fun.
Squats or deadlifts?
I prefer squats
Oh
over
yeah.
deadlifts for sure. Yeah,
High flyers or storytellers?
man, that's hard for me because I'm probably always in classified as a high flyer, but I really enjoy storytelling. I would say storytelling.
Yeah. And this is you don't have to answer this honestly, but it might be a tricky one. Trish or Lita?
Okay, well this is easy for me because Trish. I
Yeah.
grew up with Trish's nephew, so
Yeah.
Trish was at like I think I've told you the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was at like my grade 8 grad and stuff like that, so easy for me.
Were you a big Lita fan? Like whenever Trish and Lita were feuding, would you have sided with Trish because you knew her, or would you loved?
I mean, I sided with Trish as a kid because I knew her, but as I got older and more mature, definitely Lita. But because it's Trish and Lita, I have to pick Trish.
Yeah. Tim Hortons or Starbucks?
Tim Hortons. Yeah, not UK Tim Hortons though. Not
Oh
good.
no, 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 definitely
No,
not.
not good.
I've had it once. We flew to San Francisco for WrestleMania 31. We actually had a
Mm,
layover in Toronto on the way, so we
yeah,
were there for like 5 hours, and we had the Tim Hortons in the airport. So that was pretty sweet.
yeah, that's the
Uh,
legit stuff.
Favorite place to wrestle outside of Canada?
I mean, it might be Denmark. It's up there. Oh no, oh man, Denmark or France right now because the French scene is really picking up, and they're so respectful. Yeah, I'd say yeah, Denmark or France.
Cool, cool. Uh, Favorite match of all time?
Oh geez, it's hard.
It can be a couple if
What's
you have a few in mind. It doesn't have to be
I
just one.
mean, if you look at Danielson and Osprey for sure,
Yeah,
that's one.
Jesus.
Um, I think Sean Taker WrestleMania 25 is like always easily one of my favorites. Another one that like is not necessarily like the best match of all time, but it's one of my favorites is Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio SummerSlam '02. Like a quick like
Yes,
10-minute
that
opener.
when he jumped him behind, yeah,
Yeah, it's so
yes,
good, so
sick.
good.
Yeah, yeah, that was
Yeah.
wicked actually. Sweet. Last question. Your Mount Rushmore of Canadian wrestlers.
Oh, why you gotta do this, man? Oh boy. Okay. I mean Brett for sure
Yeah.
has to be Brett. There's no other choice. This is always where it comes down. It's like, do I pick Edge? Do I pick Christian? Um, okay, Brett, Jericho. Can I say Edge and Christian?
Yeah, they were a
Oh
tag team. You
man,
can put them down as
yeah, because I really think they both belong, but I don't
yeah.
want to take up two spots with them. Fourth one, man, Test. No, not test. Why am I blanking? Oh, yeah, it might be. It might be Omega. Might be Kenny Omega. Who else am I missing? I feel like I should know this.
I was going to say Lance Storm or Josh Alexander, maybe if he's watching, he might.
Oh man, yeah, I probably should say Josh just for credit. Lance Storm too. Yeah. If it was like if it was an independent Canadian Wrestling Hall of Fame, Josh for sure. But
yeah,
yeah. Okay. Who did I go with? Edge, and Christian, Jericho, Omega, and Bret Hart.
Brett.
Yeah.
It's a good list. It's a good list. Speaking of Omega, and you mentioned Jericho and stuff, are you watching? What do you watch AEW? Do you watch WWE, or do you have time to actually sit down and watch all the
I
wrestling
haven't
that's on?
watched so much. I haven't been watching as much as I should be. I've been a little more WWE focused recently. I found, obviously, with the WrestleMania just had, it's been a lot more enticing. I try to catch AEW when I can. Current Jericho, not a huge fan. Old Jericho, huge fan. I'll say that.
There's a lot of that online at the minute.
Yeah,
it's a strange one. I'm not really sure where they're going with it. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope Hook isn't going anywhere. I like Hook where he is. I don't know if people are saying that Hook's going to go to WWE, and I just don't see. I don't see if they would book him the same way that AEW have booked him as.
I don't know how that would correlate. I feel like he wouldn't do that well in WWE. Maybe he would. He's so young, right? They could do whatever with him.
Yeah. But he's not a high flyer. Like he's a grappler. Like he's does a lot of submissions. So as for somebody his size, like they would normally be thrown into a cruiserweight kind of thing, like where they're flying around. So I'm not really sure what they would do with them. But
NXT seems to be full of cruiserweights right now. So I mean, it could work there.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on the current state of wrestling at the minute? With the things that are going on between AEW and WWE besides WWE storyline. All this shit that's going on. Like what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like the tribalism is incredibly stupid because we all want every company to succeed. I don't understand this fan bullshit between them. I think the general state of wrestling is good. It feels like it. On every level, most things are drawing. People are paying attention.
Yeah.
There's mainstream attention with this last WrestleMania of Rock back and Logan Paul bringing in new viewers and whatnot. It feels like we're heading towards a boom in wrestling, if not we're already in it.
Yeah, the boom is definitely there, all right.
Yeah, I guess when you start going, I make this comparison. Like I went to my nutrition shop the other day. And this guy knows I'm a wrestler, but never talks about wrestling. And he was talking about WrestleMania. Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So when you have people who don't watch wrestling start talking about it, like that's when something is going right,
Yeah. Yeah, it's been like that since like The Rock came back. Like people who were lapsed fans are like certainly taking notice, or people who know who The Rock is. I just wonder where AEW fit in. The way WWE have gone to another stratosphere since he's come back. Now, The Rock is gone. Like he's probably going to be gone for, maybe a year or maybe half a year or whatever. Like so, this is after what happened on Sunday for AEW. Like it's their chance to try and step up. Try and get up to that level where WWE are. Do you think with all the backstage stuff that all the CM Punks are gone aside now? Hopefully they don't dwell too much on Jack Perry coming back. I hope they don't hold on to it too much and just move on and get on with it.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's hoping for now. Like just stop talking about WWE because we all want to like AEW. We all want to watch the product. It's just it becomes really annoying when all they're talking about is the other product, and it's just be your own thing. That's what made it special. I think they'll get back to it. I think there's just too many emotions going on right now.
Before I let you go, is there any dream opponents, if they could become free? Unfortunately, Trevor Lee or Cameron Grimes was let go yesterday as we record. Who's going to be on that? Is there anybody, not wishing for having anybody to get released from the contract, but is there anybody out there that you'd like to work with?
Oh, I mean, 100%. I mean, Sami Zayn, definitely. I'd rather wrestle El Generico, to be fair.
Yeah.
But Sami Zayn for sure. Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Pac. Like a lot of this, I guess all those guys are pretty much in AEW, but Kyle O'Reilly, Ryder
Yeah,
Strong.
wicked.
I mean, you go on like an independent level, and there's like Michael Oku. I would love to wrestle. That's somebody that we've wrestled in like 6-man tags and whatnot, but never got the opportunity in a singles. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's a huge list, a huge list of people.
And there's loads of time to wrestle them all. Hopefully, like I said at the start, you're everywhere. People are taking notice of you. You're wrestling all these big names now, and it's only a matter of time before you get snapped up somewhere. And these dream opponents, and you never know down the line. You'll be wrestling Edge, Christian, Jericho, maybe in AEW, or you'll get a chance to go toe to toe with this version of Josh Alexander and see how things work out in TNA,
Oh
or
man,
get Mustafa Ali for the X Division title maybe in TNA at some stage in the future.
I would love absolutely any of that, because right now I'm just focused on wrestling people that are better
Yeah,
than me.
of course,
I just want to wrestle guys that have the experience so I can get better.
of course.
So yeah, I mean, if Edge wants to do some indies, absolutely.
Oh,
Sorry, Copeland.
You never know. You never know. He may want to do it
You
before he
never
hangs
know.
up. Uh,
We're in this era right now where it feels like anything is possible. So who knows?
well, Danielson and Will Ospreay just happened, so anything is possible.
It's so true.
Vaughn, it's been a pleasure having you back on again. Like I said, we're looking forward to seeing you at the OTT Spankdown in the 12th of May coming up at the KFRC Stadium. Until then, we'll talk to you soon. Vaughn, thanks again for your time.
Sounds good, man. See you at Spankdown.
Spankdown.